Death has taken a cherished loved one. May our presence and caring bring them comfort. Some hearts are embittered. Ideals are betrayed and mocked. Answers sought in vain. Life has lost its meaning and value. May the knowledge that we too are searching restore our hope and renew our faith. So we come here this morning just a few minutes out of a pretty momentous day in our country, knowing that all of those who are here with us today are having emotions. Maybe the emotion you're having is joy and excitement and celebration. Maybe the emotion you are having is worry or fear or a sense of loss. Whatever the emotion is you're having, these words are strong enough to hold them. The space that you are in is strong enough to hold them. We are strong enough to hold each other. So whatever you bring with you today is okay. That's what prayer is for, to help us work through what we're feeling, even if it's different for each one of us. So let's continue with Ma Tovu. You'll find this prayer on 92 if you're in the flip book. If you're in the prayer book, it's page 68 or 106. But we are going to start with that is not the right page 92 in the flip book, or 74 or 192 if you're in the prayer book. You're being very patient with the millions of page numbers. And I'm going to teach you some English to go with this one if you haven't heard it before. God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Those words, God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Each one of us comes into this space, and Ma Tovu is all about setting up the space. That's what this prayer is for acknowledging where we are. Usually, we're in the space together. Today, we make our own space a sanctuary. We make our own selves a sanctuary. We are the sacred receptacle for this moment. God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Let's do that one more time. God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Now let's add the words of Ma Tovu right there in your book. Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha, Yisrael. Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha, Yisrael. One more time, Ma Tovu, Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha, Yisrael. Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha, Yisrael. God, prepare me. Last time. God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. We'll continue with the blessings for every day. So what I would like you to think about right now, typically we have blessings that we go through in our prayer book, but today we're going to step outside of the book and into ourselves. We begin with the traditional blessing structure, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, and then we share something that we are specifically grateful for today, maybe something that we don't usually think about saying thank you for, something simple, something easy, something that we take for granted, like breathing. If there's something you are grateful for this morning, something that you want to thank God for this morning, go ahead and put it into the chat, and I will put it into the blessing formula, and we can chant it together. So take a moment, think about what your prayer is this morning, and we'll say that together. If you're at home, you can say it out loud. Go ahead, those of you on Zoom, something that you are thankful for, grateful for this morning, that prayer of thanksgiving. Peace in our country. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. We are thankful for peace in our country. Amen. We are also grateful for the goodwill of our country, for the peace and goodwill of our country. Amen. Good. What else? Community. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Thank you for our community. Amen. We are thankful for learning, this class and our learning. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Thank you for our learning. Amen. For this class, and I'm going to say the democratic process, just to keep it a little more neutral. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Thank you for this class and the democratic process. What a morning. All right, one more. How about for waking up on this beautiful day? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Thank you for waking up on this beautiful day. Amen. For CBI and our wonderful clergy, Susie, we think you're wonderful too. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Thank you for this congregation. Amen. All right, let's continue in the flip book on 118 out of 406, or if you're in the prayer book, page 100 or page 218. All right, so I'm going to turn to page 100 as we come to Psalm 150, which is our gratitude for all of the ways that we learn to make some noise. We certainly made some noise this week. We're going to focus on that last line, Kol Hanshama Tel Halel Yah, may every soul, every breath offer thanks and praise to you. Kol Hanshama, Tel Let's continue with the Chatzi Kaddish. If you're in the flip book, it's page 124. If you're in the prayer book, page 106 or 224. This is the prayer. It's like a bookmark. It separates that beginning warm-up section from the next beginning warm-up section. It's the one specifying that those were the morning prayers, and now we are moving into the prayers that we say routinely. So Chatzi Kaddish it's a separator. And I want to did I let Lawrence in? No? There was someone, sorry for those of you, you're being so very patient. I just want to make sure everyone who's trying to get in here is here. No one in the waiting room. Everyone's here. Very good. Very good. Continue it. That was a good time to figure that out because we were on a break anyway. Now, Chatzi Kaddish, the break is over. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba. Be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon. Uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kari, ve'imeru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach, ve'alam ulo me'almaya yitbarach. Yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, ve'yipa'ar, ve'yitromam, ve'yitnaseh, ve'yithadar, ve'yit'aleh, ve'yithalal, shemei dekudesha berichu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru. Amen. Let's stand together for the Baruch Hu. This prayer has a little bit of choreography. So if you're following along at home, we're going to stand up. And first we say Yailalai because that's how we like to sing. And then when we step into the prayer itself, first I'll bend at the knees and then bow on the word Baruch Hu, partly because it's showing humility and a humbleness before God, and partly because it resembles the root letter of the word Berach, which means knee. So we bend at the knee and then we bow. Then we have the Congregational Response, which is your turn to bend at the knee and bow. So if you're following along in the flip book 126, in the prayer book 108 or 226. And I'm going to turn around and face the ark as is traditional for this prayer. We turn to the next page. We stay standing in the prayer book 110 or 228, in the flip book page 118. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. Yotzer or gives thanks for the blessing of the sun coming up each morning and going down each night. No matter how the world is changing around us, we always have that consistency of the sun going up and the sun coming down. Let's read together at the bottom of the page. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands and for the lights you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we may all swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. Let's turn now in the flip book to 132 and 133. In the prayer book, 114 or 232. This is the Shema. This is the prayer that if you had to summarize what it means to be Jewish in just one prayer, this would be the one, because it talks about one. It talks about God being one, about the uniqueness of there being one unifying force for us all to believe in. Perhaps it's one unifying being for us all to trust in. One thought, one idea, one blessing that we can use all the metaphors in the world to talk about. And it doesn't matter which one we choose. What we're talking about is the same thing. So as we say the Shema together, we're just going to chant it today, giving one breath to each word. And I want you to listen to what's happening within you, listening to what you're hearing outside of you, and thinking about the unified connection that brings us all together. Some people like to cover their eyes for this prayer because it helps connect in, to center in to that one unifying presence. Shema Yisrael Adonai Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam You may be seated if you are standing. As we turn to Ve'ahavta, the next page, if you're in the flip book, it's 134 out of 406. If you're in the prayer book, 116 or 234. You're doing a great job following along with all of those many page numbers. Ve'ahavta talks about the lessons that we learn from our parents, the lessons that we pass on to our children, characterized by the ways that we love God and show our love for God. So you can focus in on that idea as we say this prayer together. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levacha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, vedibarta baham, veshivtecha bevetecha, uvlechtecha vaderech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We had a question in the chat. Before we continue on to the next prayer, I will pause to answer the question. The question was about bowing. And how do we know when it's time to bow and when it's not time to bow? And this is complicated by the fact that you are at home. Because the easiest way to learn these rituals and these traditions and this prayer choreography is by watching the people around you. That's really the easiest way to learn. To see what they're doing, look out of the corner of your eye, and you try it too. But I understand that there's also a self-consciousness there, and sometimes it's hard, which is why we have opportunities like this one, where without fear, you can ask those questions. So the answer, my friend who is asking this question, who asked privately, so I won't tell you who it is, and I'm sure many of you were wondering, is that there's no way to know without asking. And today I'm going to tell you all of the times where there's specific choreography. That first one was at the Baruch Hu, that call and response, where the first bow is the leader, and then the second bow on the word Baruch is, all right, Susie, it was you. The second bow is on the response, where everybody bows together on the word Baruch. And then sometimes the question is, well, when do I get up? So you bow on Baruch, Baruch, you kind of bend, Adonai, and then up in Hamavorach. So that's when we do the bow on that one. And then there's other opportunities. So it's during the Amidah. The next one I will tell you when it comes. And the third is in the Aleinu. And I will tell you when that one is coming too. So those are the 3 times really to think about bowing. But then there's also some getting up on tiptoes. There's some other stuff too. So there's some stepping back and stepping forward. And I'm going to tell you all of it today. Excellent question. And I think one that a lot of people wonder about is, when do we bow and how do we know? Let's continue with our song of freedom. So we remember that story. It comes from the Torah itself. This text comes from the Torah itself about freedom. What does it mean to be free? So let's take a look first at the reading on page, if you're in the book, 121 or 239. If you are in the flip book, page 139 in the flip book, 239 or 121 in the prayer book. Let's read. Nope, I gave you the wrong page. Yes, no, I didn't. I gave you the right page. Sorry. 239 or 121 in the prayer book. Let's read at the bottom of the page, the eternal truth. The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else. May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, asks God? We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. Turn to the next page in the prayer book. It's 122 or 240. In the flip book, it's 140. We'll sing Mi Chamocha together. I'm doing that, the one with the D walk down. You know which one I'm... Yes, thank you. In the book or on the page, think also about freedom. When was the last time you truly felt free? What does it really mean to be free, even as we have so many rules and responsibilities? And what are the responsibilities we have to have in place in order to uphold our freedom? Shira Chadasha, Shibechu Geuli, Leshimcha Sfatayam, Yachad Kulam Hodu, Ve'im Lichu Ve'ameru Adonai Imloch Leolam Va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha netar b'kodesh. Tzur Yisrael kuma be'ezrat Yisrael. Uvdeichenu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo. Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Ka'al Yisrael. We'll continue on the next page in the prayer book. It's 124 or 242. In the flip book, it's page 142. This is the Amidah. Susie, it's the prayer after this first little line where we have the next moments of bowing, both at the beginning of the prayer and at the end of the prayer. Watch me, I'm going to do it. It's on the word Baruch, the Baruch at the beginning and the Baruch at the end. But first, we have some other choreography. This is when we are stepping into our audience before God. And we imagine the metaphor right now of God as a king, or if you prefer, God as a queen, God as royalty. And how do we step before royalty? We do so with humility. We do so with intention. We do so with a clear idea of what it is we're looking for. So we first ask God to open up our lips so that we can offer the prayers that come from that deepest part of ourselves, from those internal chambers of our heart and soul. We find that stuff that maybe we've been pushing down. I know we've got a lot of prayers on our hearts this week. Whatever it is, now is the moment, now is the time. And we begin together as a community with a few prayers that we offer from our communal, collective heart and soul, and then I'll give you some time for silence, some time just for you. So the first choreography on this page, as we ask God to open up our lips, is first we take 3 steps back. 1, 2, 3. And the reason for that is because we want to take 3 steps forward. 1, 2, 3. But if you imagine that in the pews there's not so much space, in order to be able to step forward, you first have to step back. So it's partly practical and partly spiritual. Page 124, 242, or 142 in the flip book. Ready? Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Now I'm just going to start flipping through the pages. So everyone, wherever book you're in, turn to the next page. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher chasdei avot ve'imahot, umevi gula livnei v'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magin. Here's our next bow. Baruch atah Adonai, magin Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Turn to the next page, no more bowing for a while. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al gevurot umidom elach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. We turn to the next page for the Kedusha, which is a prayer for holiness. And we are invoking and emulating the angels in this prayer, which means that we stand with our feet together. And there's a word that's repeated 3 times after the first paragraph. Kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. We want to be holy, holy, holy. And that was a really cool intro.
I'm really sorry. I pushed. Oh,
that was fun. So when we get
so sorry.
So when we get to the words kadosh, 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 holy, 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 we want to be like the angels. We lift up onto our tiptoes once for each of those words kadosh. So I liked that melody, but I would rather do the Bon Yeshur Kedusha, and you're going to play it, and I'm not going to play it because, you know, too many things. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, keshem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, kakatuv ayad neviyecha, v'karaz el zeh ve'amar. Here it is. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melok kol haaretz, kevodo. Adir, adirenu Adonai, Adonenu adir, shimcha bechol haaretz, Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, vehu Yashmienu, berachamar le'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai yichzion, ledor vador, hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid godlecha, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Take this time now for your own personal, private, individual prayers. You can use the words in the book. You can go ahead and flip through the flip book and find anything in there that speaks to you. And I'll let you know when we come back together what page we are on, but we'll join back together with a prayer for peace. We are going to continue now with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, which is the Torah Service. Does anyone who's out there have a question so far before we move into the next section of the service? Now's your moment if you've got something that you're thinking about. We are going to turn in the flip book to 262, and then it's going to move pretty quickly from there. So it's okay if you want to put the book aside and just take it in, because it's going to be kind of a lot of page turning and a lot of flipping, and I don't know that I'm going to get to call all of it. But if you want to at least get to the beginning of it, it's 262. And in the prayer book, page... I had it. I knew it before. Prayer book, page 244 or 362. Now, what we'll do in just a moment is we'll stand up if you are doing that today. We're going to take the Torah out, and I will bring it right here onto the podium so that you'll be able to see while I am reading. Reading the Torah, as all of you know at this point, is something that we do every single week. We read a little bit each week. We talk about it, we learn about it, and this is where we get the strength. This is where we get the courage and the energy to move on and push on, and this is why our students learn to read it. This is why our grandparents pass it down to our parents, who pass it down to our children, who bring it into our hands. This is how knowledge learns and grows and is passed on and passed forward. So it's a sacred moment, a holy moment of taking the Torah out of the ark and reading together. And I will share with you while I prep the podium here that the parsha we're reading today, this is my bat mitzvah portion, so it's a special one for me, one of my favorites, and a really easy one to prepare because I still remember from my bat mitzvah. So we will, Parshat Vayera, and you don't need to have it in front of you. I will translate for you as we go and talk a little bit about it. I see that the finks are on here. Abby, I'm wondering if maybe you want to do our Aliyah today, even from a distance. If you're listening and if that's okay with you, let me know and I will call you to Torah. You can put your Hebrew name into the chat. Unless you stepped away from the computer for a moment, that's okay too. So let me know in the chat while we're getting the Torah out. All right, I put the book away, didn't need to do that. Ready? Here we go. If you know where we are. Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amod yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Next page. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, u'devar Adonai miYerushalayim. Next page. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Here's another bow. We turn around while holding the Torah, face the ark. Gadlu l'Adonai iti, u'neroma shemo yachdav. And now we march. If you were here, I would bring the Torah around to see you, and you would have the chance to touch it and kiss it. But because you're not here, just imagine. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach we have come now to the Torah service. As you can see, I've got the Torah right here in front of you. I had to open it up to fit it around the computer. Typically, it would be closed at this point because we're not ready to read, but I did gently cover the words so that we're not, the words don't like to be so exposed. They only want to be opened when it's time to read. And one of the traditions before we read Torah is we bless the Torah reading. So that's what I asked Abby to do a moment ago. I called Abby out because I knew she wouldn't be too mad at me. So in a moment, Abby will have the chance to bless the Torah reading before we read from the Torah itself. And this is, by the way, at a bar bat mitzvah, what the moment where a bar bat mitzvah becomes an adult in the eyes of the Jewish community. Blessing the Torah reading is something one needs to be an adult in order to do. So I want to say just a short word, a quick word about the Torah reading. So many of us already studied it this morning, but for those who didn't, there's an important part of this Torah reading where three angels, three messengers, three divine messengers come before Abraham and Sarah. They are known later in the rabbinic literature as Raphael, as Gabriel, and as... Oh, Steve Goldston, where are you? I can't remember who the third one was that we talked about. Doesn't matter. In this moment, you can all look that up and find out later. You can tell me who the other one was. Or if you were in Torah study and you remember, you can put it into the chat. But the point is that each of these angels has a specific specialty. Each of these angels has a specific way that they are sent in order to help the people. So the first one, Raphael. Raphael means the one who heals. Referring to God. The L at the end means God, so God who heals. Raphael is the middle name that I chose for my son because my aunt, who we named him for, was a doctor. So Raphael comes to visit specifically because Abraham is healing from his circumcision. So the angel, the divine messenger of healing, comes to help Abraham through that moment. Gabriel is the other messenger who comes, God who is strong, Gavriel. That's what that means, is God of strength. So Gabriel comes to help when the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, the cities, get destroyed. He comes to warn them of what is about to happen. Each angel comes with a specific job, a specific reason, a specific way to help the people on earth become better and move forward. So we are not angels, though we strive to be like them. Like we said back when we stood on our tiptoes at the Kedusha, we are striving to be like the angels. We are striving to be more like God. And if the angels are more like God than we are, then if we strive to be like them, we come just a bit closer. So think for yourself this week, this Shabbat, what's your divine message? What is the way that you can help those around you, those you love, those in your community be better? What is the special gift that you have been given? What is the way that you can be like the angels, each coming with their own gift, their own strength, their own power, their own way to help everyone around them become better? We all have that gift, even if our name doesn't have L in it. We all have the divine spark of God within us. All we need to do is find the way to help bring it forward, just like the angels in this Torah portion. So we're going to read from the Torah now. Abby, are you ready? I thank you for being our aliyah this morning. Where are you? Abby, will you turn your camera back on? Yeah. Turn it on. Oh, because so to hear it. Oh, there you are. Oh, you got your talis on and everything. All right, I'm going to pin Abby's video so we can hear her blessing. Thank you for doing it spur of the moment. Ta'amod Chana Surah Bat Yehuda La'aliyah. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Thank you, Abby. All right, so back to our Torah reading. I'm going to point this down so that you can see where we are in the text itself. Not quite the same as being here, but you're pretty close, right? So we are right here. Vayera elav Adonai be'elonei mamre vehu yoshev petach ha'ohel kechom hayom. Vayisa einav vayar vehine shlosha anashim nitzavim alav vayar vayaratz likratam mi petach ha'ohel vayishtachu arza. Vayomer Adonai, imna matzati chen be'einecha, al na ta'avor me'al avdecha. Before Abby does the blessing to follow, I will read for you in the English so we know what we just heard. The Eternal appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre as he was sitting at the entrance of the tent at about the hottest time of the day. Looking up, he saw, lo, 3 men standing opposite him. Seeing them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to meet them, and bowing down to the ground, he said, "My lords, if I have found favor in your sight, please do not pass your servant by."